say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
If did up. Let's do the buffer, build buffer in here, queue max size. Let's import this only when we are here. I'm lazy in loading it, so it should be much faster start times. Okay. Frame is none, break, read buffer, put index and frame. So we have the index and also the frame only one. Let's give it a max queue size of 500 after all. 500. But if it's interpolated, then it can be much higher. But no, the read buffer shouldn't be that big of an issue, actually. Let's do 1000. How many calculator? If it's a 1000 divided by 24, that means I can process 41 seconds. That's an issue. It's actually an issue. Because 41 seconds may not be long enough. 60 times 24. So that's a whole minute. 1440. Here, how large would a queue size of 1400 frames be in memory? In queue with one to depend on the size of each frame, Python size of an object memory can functional in terms of memory size. The object sound which it contains. For a more accurate size, you will need to know the size of each frame. 8.6 gigabytes. Shit. That's an issue. It's quite large. And we also store indexes. Well, it's assuming a 1920 by 1080. 6.2 times. It's not organization active memory is committed from base on size such as overhead from the queue object, Python's memory management, etc. 6.2 times 1000. That's 6 gigabytes. That's not too much. Let's leave it at 1000. So we have a read buffer. Then do read buffer instead and leave the output out. Now def init self read buffer and dedup method. Jesus Christ, I cannot multi-thread this easily because it needs an input one and input two, so it needs two images at once. If it would be just one, I could easily multi-thread this. Let me think. Import numpy snp process frames. Dev process frames. Process is running. I don't fucking know what that is. Write a deduplication method using NumPy. There's the absolute difference. Seems that each string can be converted into NumPy, and the NumPy unique function is a suitable method for duplicating. In this last case, you may need to adjust the method. Use a dedup sensitivity and threshold comparison between two frames. Index. Alright. Link seems range. Index plus 1. Difference frame 1, frame 2. If the difference below threshold, consider them as duplicates. Skip this frame. Let's use a threshold. Use only a one variable named sensitivity. Yeah, the absolute. Dedup sense of dedup sense equals dedup sense. Index and range. So read buffer -1 frame 1 frame 2 difference if np k continuous cell process index cell processing index. But do I actually need this? And at the end, return self-process frames. Result processed frames equals. Can I do a return on this? Would the return work? I don't even think I need this actually. Maybe I do. Fuck knows. Interesting method. Yeah, these are the initializations. DDP instance, radar processor, and DDP instance process frames contain the same data as DDP instance process frames because they're both referring to the same object. Okay, DDP class won't work as you might expect. The init method input and initializing an instance of class. It doesn't return a value like other function method. Instead, it's used to set up the state of an instance if you want to process frames after an instance. So DDP is great. You can do it directly through the instance. Here is an example. DDP instance, DDP read buffer. I think this should still work. Read buffer equals this. I also need the new two variables that I've added. Well, one. And DDP sends what should be a suitable DDP sense. And it depends on your specific use case and nature of the data. It can't compare frames. So then it could be a threshold. What about animation use cases? So animation in sense would play a crucial role in determining how similar two frames needs to be in order to. Okay, animation has a lot of frames that are very similar. For example, a slow panning shot or a static background. Where data failure might be appropriate. This would ensure that only frames that are nearly identical are considered duplicates. However, it's important to know that overly aggressive duplication can potentially degrade the quality of the animation, causing it to appear choppy or disjointed. That's not an issue. What I'm thinking about is actually doing so here I have process frames. This gets the value. Instead of having a process frame, let's do a class DDP empty def init self read buffer DDP method and DDP sense. In here have read buffer equals read buffer, but have it as self read buffer. Self DDP method equals DDP method. Self DDP sense equals DDP sense. Okay, have a def process frame self. This is the actual process, but instead of doing it this way, let's actually keep it for now. Have def run, right? That's how I named it here, I think. Yeah, def run self. Process frames. The thing is, I'm getting indexes as well. While true, index e frame equals self read buffer. Basically this whole code. If index is none, break frame. The issue is, how do I avoid race conditions? That is my main issue. I can probably do this. This is actually useful. From concurrent futures, import thread pool executor. DWMT, right? So it's multi-threaded. Of course, for like 6-10 frames, it doesn't matter, but it can potentially, for a 1 second clip, it can potentially, not a second, or maybe 10 seconds clip, it can potentially increase it quite substantially. I could probably start a TED for reading buff the frames and the while true loops here. But that's something that's gonna come in the future probably. Read self read buffer, self process frames, self dedup method. I don't even need dedup method, self dedup sense. And here add processed frames, processed frames, dedup sense, run. While true, get to how do I make sure that it doesn't have race conditions? That's my main issue. How do I avoid it here? Because I don't remember anymore. Sorry. I don't, because I don't get 2 frames, I'm only getting 1 frame, actually, now that I think about it. I want to get the 2 frames in the run the front. I want to get the 2 frame followed by so index plus 1, but also leave it to be multi-threaded. Thread safe queue from Python's built-in queue model. You can put all the indices in the queue, and each thread can get an index from the queue and process the corresponding frame and get the next one. Self queue put, free thread pool executor. What? Create a queue and put all the indices into it. But I already from the queue, process the frame in this index and the next one. I'm not sure this actually works. I don't think this is correct. Where is the frame 1 and frame 2 from? It seems just mistake in the code that it's not defined either class. Should I just leave it single threaded for now and worry about yeah, let's leave it single threaded. I assume it's still supposed to be quite fast overall, but I'm not exactly sure how fast it is. I could probably do a test run, but I'm assuming just how slow it is. It's not gonna work out as intended. Do it single threaded. No. Ooh, okay, my bad. For index and frame result with other index, not for frame 1 equals self read buffer get index frame 2 index plus 1. Wait, what happened to you? Did I delete it completely? There you go. Processing index. So this will iterate over each frame. Threads are running, false, processing index equals 0, self process frames equals self process frames, def process frames, self for indexing range. No calculator paint. I need to visualize it. So there's 4 frames. It will get this and then it will compare it to this. Then it will go, if this is correct, then it will go here, and then it will compare again with this and this and this and this. The problem is it's hard to multi-thread this when you need 2 frames, because they're gonna be race conditions where one thread wants to get this and the other thread wants to get this. Actually, no, it shouldn't be an issue, because it processes each frame manually. I can probably just pop the value. Using thread pool executor. Make this multi-threaded. Let's see what it has to say. And then process each frames. Process frame index. Yeah. Process frames. Process. Executor for next range. Executor submit. I want to have max workers of self empty. Self no empty. This is the number of threads. Buffer max workers. Yeah, that's. what I don't get is self-executor for index in range of length self-read buffer -1. Okay, so this is index in range of length of self-read buffer -1 executor submit index +1. But this seems logical at the same time. But there's no something is missing, because here how I do it is index and frame. It shouldn't be able to get the same value, right? So process index equals frame. So maybe doing this would be a bit better. I don't get what processing index is used for, because it's not used for anything. Like, update the processing index. There's no point of this. It's not used for anything. What I'm rather thinking about is the true for in range of self and the executive submit. This index equals frame 1. For index in range of length buffer, so 0, 1, 2, 3. And t and d is self and t equals and t. This work. No, this code won't work especially because you're calling executor before calling the process frame method, and you're assigning saw process range twice. Okay, well, point still stands. Don't even need Q. What would be a good default sensitivity? Depending on the specific, you can adjust the value based on your specific needs even. I will specifically use it for animation generally. It's Japanese anime. Let's see what it has to say. For animation, Japanese, Japanese and Chinese are often very similar to each other with only minor changes. Therefore, a higher sensitivity might be more appropriate to avoid considering slightly. A good starting point would be sensitivity 0.005. This would mean that frames would need to be 95% similar to be considered duplicates. However, this is just starting point. You might need to adjust the so if the input dedup sense is represented from 0 to 100, I would need to divide it by 100 in order to get sub-zero values. Yeah, I mean, that seems logical. Check if this code would work. There's no point for this while or please note that the process inference doesn't return anything when true before processing frames at defaults immediately after, which might not accurately reflect what the threads are still running. Synchronous. If you need to check whether all tasks have completed, you might want to use the shutdown wait true method instead. The executor shutdown wait true. You can use the shutdown wait true method to wait. Executor shutdown wait true. How this function is called from another one. How can I return the processed frames? And processing from the dedup class, you can add a method to return slave cat process frames. Ah, that seems logical. I need to rewrite my whole Rife interpolation as well. Fucking hell. But this seems decent logical, honestly speaking. And I can also start the thread for writing the frames. I should probably process frames. If interpolate, if processed frames is none. Not that, if let's do process frames equals process frames, yeah. If process frames is none. Let me think for a second, because I need to also take into account if the user does not want to deduplicate. Let me just think. If process frames is none, Process frames equals read buffer. But would that be gold? Because I would need to move the data from one variable to another variable. That's probably not a good idea. Interpolate drive. Let's leave it like this. I need to rewrite my whole thing. So let me think. Processed frames. I want to have a different variable compared to read buffer because I also want to have a write thread. So basically, have a non-blocking function for reading the thread. Either I separate this into a different process. Oh, that could be an option. Now that I think about it, separate this into dev process, dev process. Yeah, fuck it. Right. But this is not gonna append, so I need to have a class because I cannot have a self. Right, I think I will need to do class main def init self args. Do this, and then we can also have done threads for building the buffer and writing the buffer. So delve write buffer. Wait. Self frames self output metadata. I do not care much about that for now, that is. Let's leave this as it is. So what I'm thinking about is the self-build buffer, but let's start a thread for that. So import thread, I think it was something like that, yeah. And the thread start new thread self-build buffer. We cannot have it actually dynamically done. Can I do it blocking? Actually, I cannot do that because I need to process each frame and only then append it to the build buffer. So either I process each frame individually, then append them to the buffer, to the write buffer, or technically I could just write the whole logic. Differently. So have a def init that writes, that reads the buffers and whatnot, very similar to how VS Code does it. Not VS Code, Vaporsynth. Do a fourth executor submit creds. Yeah, I think that could technically work. I think. I'm actually rethinking this whole thing now. So what I could do instead of just doing each process manually at once, I could have a read buffer that reads all of the frames and then manually just appends them to each process. I'm basically remaking Vaporcine right now from my thoughts. If dedup from dedup, import dedup, and do this. I might actually put it underneath here. And then have a dedup class that instead of doing the whole process manually does frame E1 and E2, right? Or E0, E1, because that's easier to understand. E1 dedup sense dedup methods, and that's it. Let me just do this. Do a import thread here. Let's import the queue as well. tkdum and queue. So we have a build buffer in enumerate frames. What we can instead do, video file clip. Where do I use this? Video, yeah, input. The os.norm path. I think that should work. Def inference. If self half Coogan process thread. Testing now. Process thread. Threads are running. Where is it? Right here. This is what I actually need. So self frames, self video. These are actually important. Self writer and self p bar for the thread new start. Read buffer. and then just start new threads. Opa. Wait, I can just copy this on. So define build buffer in enumerate self frames, and we also gave it a max size of 500. All right. Import time. Process. Start process. Self.process. Define start process with a self argument. So this is the actual brain behind of it. What I can't do, wait, dedup needs 2 frames, interpolation needs 2 frames. I didn't think that through. I can get the metadata later. Let's think about the writing a bit later. That's something that I need to too much. That's too much for now. Start process. So we have a read buffer that has all of the frames. We can get a universal frames. We already did that. Thing is, I'm throwing out a frame. There's a big issue. I can constantly update the read buffer. Nah, that cannot constantly updated. I can have a processed frames dictionary, very simple. That starts from 0. Have from concurrent futures, right? Start process. And in here, just do read buffer. Thing is, does this constantly update with the newest read buffer? That is something that I'm not exactly sure about. Maybe it would be better to do instead of doing this, I'm just gonna first read buffer, self read buffer, self build buffer, right? This won't necessarily start it on well, I can actually multi-thread this as well, or in HRT thread build buffer. Could I multi-thread this? Probably easier to just start with this actually, because I know this is a blocking one. Now that I think about it, so it'd be much easier to just do this, and then the executor submit self build buffer. One thing that I should not forget, because there's a bunch of variables that I don't even use actually now that I look at it. I should get rid of this. I can do if dedup shit. Need to do self and self. This is painful to watch, but I think it's I cannot import it. Wait, is it uppercase D? I can probably do this. No, this is actually ugly. Process 1. Oh, that's not good. Well, I can actually just do remove this. Remove these, and then the dedup equals these self dedup. IO, I1, these are self read buffer. Now the dedup census definitely needs to be done with or wait, I can just probably use args. Could that work? Probably, yeah. I think this should actually work this way. I already know what inputs it needs. I just need to have the processes done. I'm basically rebuilding Vaporcint. It's just this basic Vaporcint. Just really, 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 really ugly. Probably have to use a self process frames. And if self interpolate. I know these one needs image 1, image 2. Basically, that's really the gist of it. What's this self? I0 equals I0, self I1 equals I1, self dedup sense equals dedup sense, self dedup method equals dedup method. This should probably keep it in memory. Define run. Yeah, I actually have to do that run method. So this is on call. Actually, now that I think about it. And the I0, I1, dedup sense, dedup method. Let's leave dedup method for now out. If np mean well, it's an np array. Does MoviePy store np arrays when it reads frames? I think it's yes. If I remember correctly, it does. Yes, MoviePy Python module for reader 10. It does store frames as NumPy arrays. That is good for me because it simplifies the process significantly. Difference. if and p mean data sense return return I0, else let's do a pass here. So if the sensitivity dedup sense, let's not forget t divided by 100. That's something we didn't think about. Divided by 100. Because it stores a what is it called, a percentage value, so 0 to 100, but I actually need a float value of from 0. So from 0 to 1, that is what I actually need, because that's how it calculates the difference. In that case, if it's lower than the dedup sensitivity, then return I0 and I1. Right? Else return I0. So if it's lower than dedup sensitivity, you return both. But how can I make sure that this is properly read? In the sense that self-read buffer. Where's I0 and I1? There's a big question. It's much easier to read over all of it. Self-read buffer dot get, I think it was, or dot read, something like that. Yeah, dot get. I need to have the indexing method that I used to have. Is this correct? It's not correct because it has the past. The code you provide is syntactically correct, might not behave as expected, might text to images as sent to the sent. Yeah. First image. However, the code is not what was initially requested. This is not. I don't think it's necessary. Considering this code would be. That's not. Oh, yeah, it says. Running the calculus the absolute difference. That is the big issue. I don't know how to get the frame to. Could I do self read buffer get? Self develop run expects 2 frames. How should I do it? Remember the dedup class pass to numpy arrays and the sensitive value is input. If your current code you're only providing 1 frame, if you want to compare it to dedup run per frame previous frame. No. Keeping count of 1 previous frame is okay. That's something I didn't think about. That's smart. But how will it take into account per frame none? Per frame is not none. If self pulling and pref frame is not none. Well, it will be much easier to have a result. Template factor. Upscale frame. I don't need frame here. Upscale run, upscale method, and upscale factor. RX, upscale factor, and upscale method. It's much easier this way. Will each keep in memory a different version of it? That is my question. Then what if they are not different? So here I need result. Dedup returns there's two images if they are not duplicate. Or wait, why return both images? If they're not, just return false. They're not duplicates. Return false, return true. If result is true, meaning they're duplicates, self read buffer. Can I do remove? Use cancel, joint, close, empty, full, cut. I return a true or false value which determines whether or not they are duplicates. What should I do if they are? One other thing, if it upscales it, right? So duplicate frame and frame, priv frame. Because it's true, the continue statement is executed, which skips the rest of the loop and starts the next iteration. Executed, which skips the rest of the loop and starts the next iteration. Means the duplicate frame will not be processed by the interpolation and upscale steps. That is good. Skips the rest of the loop and starts the next iteration, which means that duplicate frame will not be processed. Let me think. So first time it doesn't do anything. Second time there's frame 1 and frame 2, right? Well, no, frame 0 and frame 1 in the buffer, so to say, in frame and frame 1. Frame, let's assume that they are not duplicates. That can be processed. But it means that the first frame is going to be skipped by the upscaling. Either I append a dictionary that has all the stuff in it, and self-build upscale will work on each frame individually. So basically return a dictionary. Let's say there are 2 frames. There's wait, let me think. This is so complicated. Pref frame and frame goes in frame 1. Frame 0 goes in. Let's assume they are not duplicates. So frame 0 and frame 1 are not duplicates. They will get processed. Then I need to get the result, Kiltron result. The problem is I have a dictionary here. Or in range of, if self interpolate equals true, or in length of result, into result. Result. But I should always do the red frame. Right? Because otherwise I'm skipping on the first frame and it doesn't get upscaled. Thing is, this is a blocking one, which is not exactly ideal. The initialize initialize self. Move all of this here. Don't need this anymore. This will be done. Start new thread. I don't need this for now. Well, actually, it's gonna be for writing the thread. Actually, I think I can. Maybe I shouldn't do it in a blocking manner. And do thread start new thread cell build buffer, right? Okay, anyway. Is self.ddub and fref frame is not none. Okay, so frame 0, frame 1 goes in, right? Let's think about it for a second. Frame 0 and frame 1 goes in, assuming it's a duplicate. Not duplicate for now, let's do not duplicate. It goes forward and it does pref frame and frame. So it does the E1, E0 and E1. They get upscaled. It returns a dictionary with all the frames, and then they all get upscaled by the upscaling method. Let's assume they're duplicate. Then let's go back. But my issue is frame, but the first frame is gonna be ignored. And if self that upscale is false, else fuck, something doesn't add up. Because the first frame is gonna be not processed because it just skips over it. I do not want that. Frame is not none. Wait, it's not gonna be, because it's not none. It's gonna ignore it. So the first frame is no. Frame length of result. Right? No, wait, because it's only doing this if it's not none. This is gonna get ignored, and this can get upscaled, and then goes back. This gets a value, it goes in, this decides everything. If it's a skip, then goes away. But what will it continue? That's why I do not get said. Elaborate, please. Skipping is acted which skips the rest of the loop. So this means it skips this as well. If is duplicate, then in that case, shouldn't I assign ref frame equals frame earlier? If it is duplicate, is a duplicate. Yes, you're correct. Yeah, I'm genius. Yes, I always knew I'm a genius, but good lord, I mean, fucking hell. I don't need to tell me. No, I mean, you know. So this skips over everything. It assigns the latest. So if it is a duplicate, frame 0, frame 1. If it is a duplicate, frame 0 gets dropped. Oh, that's bad, maybe. No, frame 0, frame 1. If they are a duplicate, frame 0 gets dropped, frame 1 remains. If it's not duplicate, compared to frame, if we get the frame 0, which is now the new frame, frame 2, frame 1, frame 2. If they are not a duplicate, again, I'm running into the same issue. If they're not duplicate, I still have a frame 0. Then I still need to upscale it. The pref frame. Wouldn't that mean the upscaling gets skipped if there's a duplicate? I still want to upscale at least. No, wait. Frame 0, frame 1, frame 2, frame 0, frame 1. Let's say the duplicates, then frame 0 becomes frame 1, frame 1, and frame 1 becomes frame 2. Frame 0, frame 1 goes in. Duplicates. Let's assume they're not duplicates. Then there is a frame 0 and frame and an upscaled frame. Frame 0 and or pref frame and frame, or frame 0 and frame 1. It goes into interpolation, multiple results, and whatnot. Okay. Frame 1 goes into it. But in the case that you do not want interpolation, that is something I'm not exactly sure about. And another issue, how the fuck? Well, that shouldn't be processed if they're upscaled and already duplicated. But wait, frame 1. Wouldn't that mean in interpolation there's it's always gonna duplicate one frame because jeez, it's gonna add duplication to it because it this one processes the export in the sense that it no, sorry, this, yeah, this, it will, this would output the result, but maybe I should only, output the middle value, so the upscaled frame, or upscaled frames, or interpolated, sorry. Interpolated goes in. Let's say there's another interpolated frame. I need to rethink this whole thing. If self.interpolate. Let me just say something. VS Gantt TensorRT Docker. He's the smartest guy now. It's a in one go process. Nicely one go process where each frame gets read individually, processed, buffer processed, and encoded. Nicely one go process where each frame gets read individually from a buffer process and then encoded. Let's see what Sudo has to say. Hopefully it can help. Buffer and process. Sudo, answer. I need your help. I only need to interpolate. I don't need to export the interpolated frames. That's the thing. But I do not want to upscale the frame. basically. Yourself upscale. Rev. I think this could work. So if the index is none, the new frame that is trying to read is none, then I will upscale the previous frame that was held and prev frame is not none. Then just break the loop. Frame and result. The thing is, this is always gonna store the upscaled frame. That's not ideal. So I do upscaled and frame and then result. And in the upscaled. The problem is I do not have an index for that. Because I'm working on an index base. So I store here the index as well. The result is an extra frame that got interpolated. How should I append it to the list so that to the right processed frames list so that it doesn't break the indexing. Resulting as a frame that got interpolated, you can append it to the process frame list after the current frame. However, this will Shift the index false. Press to maintain the correct order frames. You can change processor index to dictionary where the key is the index and the value is the frame. This way you can insert frames at any index without affecting orders. It's the dictionary where the key is the index and the value is the frame. This way you can insert frames in any index without affecting the orders. Two, three, four, or any arbitrary number of frames in the index. How will I treat those cases? Здесь комбинация multiple frames you can. So that I necessarily want an indexing in the write process. It just allows me to be much more thread safe and not to run into interpolation issues. Not interpolation issues, but race conditions. Index and results, so I process and interpolate index equals result. Wait a minute, what did it do? If result is not none, for I in result in enumerate results, interpolated index equals index plus I divided by length of results, cell process frames, interpolated index equals result. It's so annoying. But I also want to upscale the frame, right? I do want to upscale the frame. So 0, 1, 0, 0.5. It's these. I just need to write the logic for the right thread, right? So how should I? Through the way you show the code that you've provided no longer upscales the frame, only the interpolated ones. I added also a upscale run frame, which upscales the frame. I see. You want to upscale both the original and interpolated frames. You can modify the code to ensure that both types of frames higher, so you can do it. That seems much simpler to mine. How should I write the right thread, since there are interpolated indexes now as well? Since you're using dictionary to sort process names, you can sort the keys, frame indices, and write the frames to alpha file where. Do I actually do that? Oh yeah, I do. Here, this is basically the same call. This and this. If probably write it in 190. FPS equals. This is much easier. Here's movie pie. And there's just right frame, but I'm just too lazy. With the clip from the frames and private the file used to write the clip in the output file. I don't like this approach. And will this always constantly sort it? I mean, probably sorting 10, 15 frames or even fucking 100 shouldn't be an issue. Since I can multi-thread this as well pretty easily, it should be easy enough. And 2 threads is just gonna max it out more than likely. Thing is, if it's none, how can I do? Thing is, index is none. How can I declare it if index -1 or less index? I can have a temp index. So if it goes to like 10, it will here it will go to 10 plus 1, so it adds a less frame. Now the right head is gonna be interesting. 12. I like this approach quite nicely, quite low. What will happen if, say, what will happen if, what the fuck? Let's say the encoding added here's a second, and there's 4 frames left, but the actual length should be something like this. Will it duplicate these frames in order to have the CFR? Or will it do variable frame rate and just ignore this completely? That is my question. I mean, it shouldn't necessarily be an issue, because like the less frames being duplicated is not entirely a problem. The thing is, people are gonna put it from here to here. So if the video goes from here to here, people are gonna put the keyframe here, and these clips are while true itself process itself script frames time sleep continue p bar while true self right there close. Why exactly is the issue? Why is this grayed out? Code is unreachable. Why is that? Oh, because it's just gonna stack in here. if self is cannot quite dynamically adjust the value because some frames are dropped, some frames are interpolated. It's hard to get a p-bar going on. For now, let's ignore the p-bar. Calls main interpolate and t rx hard parsers. This should mean everything can be done in one process, technically speaking. Without having to do like multiple calls. Do you think this is correct? Wait, what? Do you think this code is correct? Let's see what it has to say. I assume not too well. The code seems most correct, but there are a few potential issues that we might want to address. In the init method, that's annoying. I don't want to rewrite that whole thing. It's just gonna do it for me. Anyway. What the fuck? And initialize. Oh. Okay. And then right there. Well, I could actually, for every frame rate, I could just probably do self p-bar update here, actually. And self p-bar close. And do a self p-bar equals TKDM, color green, frames processing, and TKDM. That should make it read again. Multi-thread everything. Everything should be multi-threaded. Everything should work fast. So fast. Jesus Christ, I hate myself with every fucking minute. Okay, so technically the backbone should be correct, I think. basically reinvented Vaporsin. Yes, I'm so cool. It's so dead inside. Okay, so now I need to add Drive and Kugan. That's it's gonna be so fun. So fun. Class. Well, I could probably do class Kugan. Def init. So this is on the call self and nothing else. I want to have handle model. Call handle self handle model. If self model type equals ruffle Kugan. I also need to call def handle models. So on the call I need to fuck. Don't know how I named it. Skill method. So in here the Kugan upscale method. Right. Okay, but I should not forget about Kugan Arch. From Kugan Arch. Actually, I should already have these here. What do you mean it's not defined? It's literally here. Let's open it again. Am I missing something? I don't exactly know the difference between the two. I assume one is callable and the other one isn't. Class name refers to class itself. It class name refers to a new instance of class. Here's a brief class name. There is the brief. So here I should have main or main. In this context, should I use main or main? No, fuck. This should simplify the logic so much. Like, so much. If I can get it done. I just don't understand what the fuck is going on here. Actually, I should probably do this. Connect to Xfest. What the fuck? What's the problem? Maybe there was a typo? I didn't notice it. Okay, why is this music? It's getting annoying. Kind model means the denoising. No denoise. What would happen if I would do on calls? They would only be available in this. Okay. Also parsing the half value. That's something that I forgot. I'm gonna leave it at half. Half. I didn't set it to true by default. Okay, I'm getting to the bathroom. Be right back. They ordered food because I'm hungry. Dum 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 dum. McDonald's has risen their free. What the fuck? I mean, not free. Everybody raised their fee for transport. That's fucking weird, isn't it? It was, when was it? The day before? 2 days ago? No. I don't know what to eat. I don't want any super weird fast food type of shit. I'm not in the mood for that. But everything else is super expensive. A fucking salad is $10 for Romanian prices. That's horrendous. What? Where did they fucking leave the $10 for carbonara? You're retarded. 400 grams. That is stupid. Honestly, this is. I'd rather die hungry than fucking order for this much. Yeah, I have no other option. What do I want to eat? I'm kind of feeling. Wait, something I didn't think about. Can I potentially run into memory issues this way? Each of these load a torch model. Setting the burn wheels of the separate package point to GPU could potentially intervene with it. The models are some at most in total 100 megabytes. Which most in your like to run into GPS there. Keep in mind that the actual memory is to be higher than just inside the model is the memory required for the input data, intermediate computations and gradients if training the model. If you're only doing inference, running the model as the input data without training the memory is relatively low and you're likely to run into issues with the model. Or if you're still running the VRAM issues, you might want to check there are other processes in GPU memory can do things using Quantum Linux or using NVIDIA GPU. Yeah. No. I don't need these. I need the inference. The run itself. This is with torch inference mode. A torch, no. Red. I mean, that's more or less it, honestly. Check if correct. Not the aspect exists. Oops, yeah, that's true. And now let's write Rife. It's gonna be fun. So much fun. Chain. Compact. No compact. It should be in, yeah, in chain. What am I doing? What am I looking at? I'll also rename it to .py, potentially. Class Rife. And I've already started badly. Separation. Factor and half so far. That's something that I need to def. Let me just open RivePy real quick. Import OS, storage, and dkdo. I might. No, I don't need dkdo. Torch and then numpy. SMP from storage and import functional sf. What else could I need? I'll probably importing the actual flownet and whatnot. I need this. Need to also determine the padding. I also need to get the frame size for the padding. I don't quite understand this. Wait a minute. What it does is posing to last frame. For change in range of length of image list. Yeah, but it doesn't do any transposing, or am I just... Oh. There it is. It's only it doesn't show errors. Like this could have errored out and I didn't even know. What the fuck? This is so small. That's cool. Ooh. I have no idea what just happened. course, this could use some spacing, but overall, I mean, it can look great. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, got to add model there. To me. Oh, it's a pand. Yeah, I'm used to cues from multiprocessing. Yeah, this should be technically correct. I mean, I can't wait for this to fucking crash on me. Granted, but so all they did was make it extremely hard to read. Thing is, I have this declared here. So either I move this I think this is correct. Let's do for Kugan. If or Kugan. Come on, there you go. Print not yet implemented. No idea what it means. Never, never, never. Unless someone might go. Never, never. That went smoothly. I have no idea why I just did that, but sure. What? I'm sorry, what? Never. Okay, you cannot potentially. What? Line 1. Invalid syntax. STD in or STD out. LS, CD, SRC. Okay, now it's working. Okay. NormPath not available. Why the fuck? That should be NormPath or not. There is. Oh, it's path NormPath. Okay. Emdump or s.path norm. Set the string by service per line list. What? Print input. Yeah. What? What am I missing? Yeah, but this is a string, isn't it? It's a string. What? Okay. Okay, let's do a print self input, print self output. What happens if you do... I'm dumbfounded. What the fuck is happening? Maybe Specs is a double? I don't think that will fix it, but nice try at least. They're already being printed, you fucking idiot. No, it doesn't extract that. It extracts a list, I think. Okay, let's yoink out FFmpeg params and see if that fixes it. Looks like I did this. Oh shit. What the f- Okay, technically it worked. It did something. There isn't he. Unless I did it with double. Yeah, I did with double. And T5. Yeah, the speed didn't increase by any margin. Ooh. Let's speed up NT100. Yeah, it just doesn't have enough time to allocate frames. Wait, what? Wait, what? What? Mother, what? The video just gets longer. And if I leave it to NT1, performance degrades, okay. And the output is basically non-existent. Something doesn't add up. What? What? So multithreading doesn't work. Something is botched in it. Also, that's a super huge number. Considering it's definitely going with that speed. Let's do NT 5000. It's like these seconds. Could it be the processed frame being dump? Is there a possibility? And red frame. So that works. But it's weird how the duration gets screwed. I think it's a problem with the white. Okay, what I can do is just and do this. But why does NT matter for the DDoP? It shouldn't even have anything to do with it. Unless it just resets the value each time. And this is even the hard part, so to say, this DDoP only. Unless it has an issue with frame and temp index. It doesn't make sense how the fact that if I run 5,000 threads, it doesn't have an issue, but with one thread it does. I don't fucking understand what's happening. DDoP. I mean, this shouldn't even be here. DDoP sense, I set it to like 30. That means 003. DDoP sense of 90 would be 009. So if I set it to sense of 5, let's see something else. Print started thread. Do 1,000, 10,000. Now the output is still fucked. Wait, I forgot. Right to the close. This breaks this loop. This breaks that loop. Be right back. Hello. Yeah. For now, I'm gonna go and sleep. Eat, I mean. I'm gonna continue on the code a bit later on, but for now, this is good. It's good as is. Anyway, have a nice one.